All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is the Working Title Experience with Katie. Katie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, doing okay. We were talking before we went live about, I guess I'm not even sure if it exists anymore. Ida, is it even even part of our reality anymore? I think it's faded into oblivion at this point. But we were talking about how it affected several different locations. Tell me again what you said before we went live. How it affected something in Tennessee?
Yeah, so I know like or Tennessee has this like huge music festival usually every year called Bonnaroo, and it looks like this year they're not able to do it because it's just completely flooded. Like the fields are flooded. Um, I made a joke. I was like, well, people could like come in and like swim around in like inner tubes and just kind of watch the concerts, but they can't even get trucks in there. It's like so flooded. So they're gonna. I think a lot of the artists though right now are in Nashville because I've seen people post different stories of just like being in Nashville and like all these different artists are there because they were planning on performing this weekend. So it's a good weekend to just go to like one of the bars down in Nashville. You might see someone.
Hmm. The one of the people that I do another show with, she was closer to where it hit. She's in Mississippi,
Oh
and
wow.
she said didn't really affect her too much. She lost Wi-Fi, a couple of like power went out a little bit, but nothing too severe. But Louisiana apparently got hit super hard, and apparently they when it hit land, it was like 150 miles per hour, which, if I'm not mistaken, isn't that how powerful it was when Katrina came through? It was pretty powerful.
Yeah, I think they were comparing it to Katrina. Louisiana, I feel like they just can't catch a break. Like New Orleans, like all that. Geez, I feel like that is one of the places you have to be careful with living there. Just like the different Mother Nature activities that go on.
Yeah, yeah. They had the oil spill. When was that? Back in the I forget when that was. The way back in the day. Did that affected them too? I think. Yeah, and then Katrina, and then it's funny. Oh, it's not funny, but the interesting thing about Katrina was I didn't know how severe it was until like 3 years later. I had hired someone to do. I really didn't. That was like I had hired someone to work for me. She was doing sales and news, and we had a lunch together, and she told me how bad it was. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, what did I miss? So I
Yeah.
was I was like, wow. And then I watched a special on the internet somewhere, and I was like, wow. I was like blown away by how I guess I was too engrossed in my work at the time. I just didn't notice what was going on around me. So
Right. And if you're not there, if you maybe you don't like know people that live there, you're just like, oh, it was just a hurricane or it was just a tornado or something. But then once you really look at images and like you like look into social media and stuff, people posting stuff and you see the damage, you're just like, wow, it's
yeah,
crazy.
and then the whole thing with the like the with the football stadium, I forget the name of the stadium. There were people living there, and it was how bad it was for them, the living conditions and everything. Oh, yeah, I felt really sad for those people. I really did, because I lived through a storm 2012 that was not a hurricane. It was something else. It's one of these weird phenomenals. I want to call it a phenomenon. I don't remember what it is, but it ripped through the Ohio Valley and into DC. And I say ripped through it. Ripped through several trees. Everything in the area. In this area was like the Wi-Fi internet towers were like down for like 3 or 4 days. There were trees down all over the place. The power at my place was down for 4 days. The internet was down for 6 or 8 days. I forget how long. But it's like, and that was bad enough. But these people were like, flooded out and everything. That was unbelievable. But yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That would be awful. Just like the people dealing with the fires, like it's the same thing, just a different element. It's sad.
hmm and also I wanted to touch on I have an affiliate in New Jersey, just outside of New York City, that was affected by Ida. Now this is I didn't realize how bad it was. It came through here, and it just wasn't that bad here for some reason. I mean, we got flooding, like some storms, electrical storms, but for some reason it just wasn't that bad. When it got up to New Jersey, New York, though, it just flooded everywhere. And there's the one of my affiliates, WOLD in New York. They primarily are broadcasting out of New Jersey, but they extend to New York. They One of the people that works there, they had the equipment in his home, and they had to stop taking my reports completely because his everything in his basement got flooded out, including the computer. Apparently, they have it in his home, and it couldn't take anything. And I was astounded by how bad the flooding. I checked with other people, and yeah, there was like flooding up to a couple of feet deep in several locations. I was like, wow, that was unreal. I couldn't believe that. And how it skipped DC. Not really. I mean, it didn't skip DC, but how did DC not get affected as badly as New York and New Jersey? It was really weird. I don't know how that worked exactly because you'd think it'd be less powerful by the time we got up there, but apparently maybe something else kicked in at the same time that made it much worse.
All about the patterns, which way it goes, which way it comes. It's very interesting, like how something can just like go one way and then take a turn and then doesn't hit you, but it impacts somewhere else like way stronger. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's nature. It's weather.
And the fact it was funny when you say that. When I was in high school one time, there was a huge hurricane that came right toward DC. I was in high school, and the hurricane was predicted to be one of the a really severe one. I don't know if it was going to be one of the worst, but very severe anyway. And I remember they decided they were going to cancel school. Everyone took off from work that day. And the funny part was it veered off course and did not it missed DC completely. And we had a nice sunny day all day. So basically everyone had the day off from work and school. So,
And you're like, it's like vacation here. It's sunny.
yeah.
Come here. That's
It was
crazy.
I was always ever since that happened, I'm always hoping when I hear this big storm is coming toward my place, I'm like, oh, I hope that happens again, but it never does. That's the only time it ever happened. So,
I've had like where it's been like raining in my front yard, but not in my backyard, or like one side of the street was raining and the other side wasn't. Yeah, weather is crazy.
you weren't in Florida, were you? Is that where you're at now, or is that some other
No,
location?
this was in Milwaukee. And then I actually saw someone post a video like not too long ago, and they were like literally like showed the camera across the street and it was like bright in sun, and then they pointed it to their feet and it was like raining and like pointed to the sky, and it was crazy how just like across the street it was completely sunny. And then I mean rain clouds like are constantly moving and like they're above you and like you can go through them really quick or you can just like be under them and like it's yeah,
Yeah,
weather's
yeah.
everything.
That brings up another thing. If I know it's getting slightly off topic, but he's talking about rain clouds. I used to be an airborne traffic reporter, and flew with a guy who thought he was a little bit. When I flew, I was never a pilot. I was just a passenger in the plane. But we flew Cessna 150 172s, and the pilot I had towards the end before I stopped doing it, he thought he was a little bit more experienced than he actually was. One day we were flying over Gaithersburg, Maryland, and he decided for some reason that it would be best to fly right through a cloud. And it was the only time I ever flew through a cloud. If you're in a commercial airliner, that's fine. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But in a Cessna,
Mhm.
you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. In fact, legally, he wasn't allowed to do that. He did it anyway. And it was the only time I ever completely lost my orientation. I had no idea where I was. I had no idea where up, down was. It was really bizarre. And finally he flew out of it. And he said, he looked at me and said, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. So,
Was it scary?
yeah, very scary. I was like, I couldn't figure out what was going on for a second there. And I don't know. He never gave me an explanation as to why we flew through the cloud. But when we got down to when afterwards, we never talked about it. But I did talk to one of my friends who is into planes, and he told me straight out, yeah, that was completely illegal. He should never have done that. Basically, a small fixed wing aircraft like a Cessna does not have the radar like a jet does, like a commercial jet. Like jets can have radar, so they can fly right through that stuff with no problem. But
Right.
Cessna's Cessna is all about line of vision, line of sight where you can see around you. You have to constantly look around. And when you do that, it's not only can you not see where you're going, if there was something in the cloud that you couldn't see, that would cause an obvious problem. Plus, your disorientation as to where the ground is really bizarre. I could not tell where, like I said, I couldn't tell what was up and what was down at that point. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, those small planes scare me. I have a friend who like loves flying and like just bought a small plane. I know they're obsessed with Cessnas. Um, and they're always like, "Do you want to go on a ride?" And I'm like, "No, that's okay. Like, I'm fine. I can take I'm fine with like commercial airlines, but those small planes, I don't know. You just hear about them like, I don't know. It would be fun to try once, but I feel like unless like someone really knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, if you go up there, make sure your stomach is prepared.
Yeah, don't eat maybe before you go on a smoothie or something.
Almost everybody who goes up into a plane throws up for the first time in one of those small planes. Almost everybody. I was one of the few exceptions to that rule, and they were actually surprised I didn't throw up when they first started sending me up. So it takes your body a while to adjust to flying in those things. And
Yeah.
I will say I have a story I like to tell. It was embarrassing, not for me, but I was only for a couple of months. I dated this woman from Germany, And I told her I flew airborne as a traffic reporter, and she said, I said, would you like to go up? And so we got permission to let her fly in the plane. Halfway through the flight, I was focusing on the roads and doing my reports. I turned around to see how she was doing, and she had actually thrown up completely, so badly. In fact, she'd thrown up through her nose, so it came up not only through her mouth but through her nose as well. And
Oh
she was
man.
she was really embarrassed. I had when I looked at her, I was like, my eyes dropped. I had no idea what had happened at first, because I didn't realize she had thrown up yet. I just thought she just looked so scared, so terrified. And the pilot was it was one of the good pilots. He turned around and he was flying the plane, and he was also trying to help her at the same time. So I was
Oh,
completely oblivious. I, if you ever go up on one of these planes, you'll understand what I'm about to tell you. They're noisy, extremely noisy. You can't hear anything. So the fact that when she threw up, I couldn't hear her throw up. So that's why I had no idea what was going on. So, and he was the pilot. I couldn't commend him enough. He was on top of the flying, and he was also trying to help her out at the same time. And it was just, and when we got down, she was embarrassed, of course. And I told her,
did she
no big
want to
deal.
go again, or was she done? She had enough.
I think that was it. I thought she was good.
Well, yeah, maybe this Labor Day, if you have an opportunity to go on a plane, weigh it out. Know that certain things might happen, but it also could be a really fun experience.
Yeah. And the other thing about the empty stomach, ironically, I guess one of the pilots told me that it's better to go up in a full stomach. I don't know how
Mhm.
true that is. I would trust him more than most people. And he always said it's for some reason, if you have a full stomach versus an empty stomach, an empty stomach will actually make you throw up more than a full stomach, which is
Oh, because you're
interesting.
probably going to be nauseous. Because if you're hungry, I know, like, what if I'm starving, I'll be nauseous and I'll just be like, I can't do anything until I eat. So, like, maybe that has to do with it. Like, if you're just like the pressure and like if you have nothing in your stomach, you're just like,
Yeah.
I could see it
Yeah.
be nauseous. Yeah.
Something maybe something to do with the like the stomach acid, like excess
Oh yeah.
stomach acid. I don't remember. It's been a while. So, but I just remember him telling me that it's always best to go. And I've never heard anyone else tell me that, but I do believe knew what he was talking about. So, but
Right.
I always put my hands. My life was in those people's hands. So I was always anytime they told me something, I always stood by it. Because they knew they always seemed to know what they were doing. So they never got enough credit either. So
Yeah.
low paying jobs, no joke. They're probably making like maybe $8 or $9 an hour just to fly those things. So,
Oh
and
wow. Well, I think it's more of like something that you love to do. So like I don't think anyone would fly the plane just for the money. I think it's that probably because they have a passion for flying planes and they like being in the air, and like that's what I was like described to. Like they liked the feeling of being like in the air above everything than on land, and
mhm.
just like the whole feeling of it.
Yeah, and the other thing that's I would definitely think it's a factor. The other thing is they were trying to get extra hours because they had to keep flight
Mhm.
hours, and once they get to a certain number of hours, they can use that to move on to a better job. So uh, that seemed to be a lot of them. They were trying to get the job as like in the big airlines or something like that. But that's
Oh
way
yeah,
so you have to have a certain number of hours before you can actually do that. So, but all right. Well, would you like to check our question from last week? Let's see
sure.
what we got here. We've got a pretty looks like a relatively decent response. Oops, I didn't share the screen. Give me a second here. There we go. Alrighty. So do you like basic sodas or would you try a unique flavor? Basic soda overwhelmingly was 72%. Next down, we got 12% with a unique flavor and 11% with I don't drink soda and 5% with choosing their own flavor. Interesting. How do you feel about that?
It's interesting to me that a lot of people are choosing just regular, like they kind of already have like what they like and they don't really want to try something different. I would have expected, I think, the unique flavor to be up a little higher, especially because all these companies are coming out with unique flavors. So maybe they need to see this, that people don't really care about that. Um,
Yeah.
Choosing a flavor. And I know a lot of people don't even drink soda to be in general. So maybe like coming out with a completely different product than a soda. Like if they're gonna come out with like a mango Pepsi, maybe come out with like a mango something that's not soda.
Hmm. Did I tell you about my you talking about mangoes? Did I tell you about my soda when I was this was years ago with Minute Maid fruit punch? Did I ever tell you about that?
Yeah, yeah, we were talking about that last episode.
Okay, I'll make sure I tell you about it. Yeah, yeah, because that reminded me about the unique flavors that
Crazy.
they're yeah.
I wish I
The
could have tried that when it was a thing.
Yeah, yeah, it was quite tasty. The and by the way, what I it didn't follow up on that was when they stopped making it, I had to choose another soda, so I ended up sticking with Cherry 7 Up. I'm not sure if they even make that
Wow.
anymore. Do they make that anymore?
I don't think I've ever seen cherry soda. I've seen orange soda.
Cherry no, Cherry
Oh,
7 Up. Cherry 7 Up. Cherry
oh,
7 Up.
cherry soda. I don't know. I don't really buy soda either, so I'm never really down the soda aisle.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, the that was the substitute that came closest for me was Cherry 7 Up. So regular 7 Up, I no, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, whenever I got sick, for some reason, my parents would say, "Here, drink some 7 Up." Um,
Yeah, my parents would do that with like Sprite or like Sierra Mist or something.
oh, really? Okay, so it is a common thing. I
Mhm.
wasn't sure how common that was.
Yeah,
And because of that reason, every time I think of 7 Up, I think, "Oh, that's only you only drink that when you get sick."
yeah, or like I always think that with like white because I think it's like a white soda thing because like something in it helps. I don't know if it is like the carbonation that helps settle your stomach. I just looked it up a while back because I was having this discussion with someone like, "Oh, did you ever have to drink soda when you were a kid growing up?" And they're like, "What?" They didn't. I don't know if they did that like with the whole sick thing, but I was like, "Yeah, like I really only drank soda when I was sick, like that and crackers." It was like what my mom would give me.
Crackers, huh? I haven't heard that one. How was that supposed to work out exactly?
Like saltine crackers just to like settle your stomach 'cause it's like super bland and just like starch.
Oh, gotcha,
Or
gotcha.
salt probably and like just the blandness. Like because I think you're supposed to follow like what is it, the brat diet, like bread, rice.
Mhm.
What is the A? And the A is something and the T is something. Maybe applesauce and tea. I don't know. It's something. And now I feel like I should look it up. What
Oh.
is oh wait. Uh oh, bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast.
Oh, okay. Bananas, rice,
Yeah.
salsa. Okay. Okay. That's something I've not heard of. That's something it must be the past my childhood. So so let's give a look at these responses here. Whoops. Let me find my mouse. There we go. I'm gonna start with the newest ones first. Sorry. These first ones look like they're in Spanish or Portuguese. Can't read them. Sorry. Mountain Dew and Sprite is life. Let's see. What's that word? Well, I can't read that.
Guarna. I don't know what that is. Guarna soda is the best.
The best. Interesting. You ever heard of Texas Cola?
No.
I drove across country several years ago with my best friend, Trevor is his name, and we stopped by a grocery store in Texas, and they had Texas Cola,
Hmm.
and um, it was one of those things I'd never heard of. And years later, when I looked it up on the internet, and no one had ever heard of it either, so
Is it
that was
like a big bottle or like a
it came in a can,
something
like a
different?
12-ounce can.
Okay.
And it came in different flavors if I remember correctly. Like they had cola, like maybe I don't know, maybe grape. I don't know. I'm just throwing these out there. And we it was like since we had never seen it before, it was like going to be our souvenir kind of a thing, like something we collected as
Yeah.
we drove cross country.
That
And
you-
go ahead.
oh no, just yeah, a souvenir.
Yeah, and I ended up drinking all mine. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if Trevor, if he kept his or not, but he might have. Maybe I don't know. I have to ask him. He might have drank all his as well. But I just went back and I was like, this it might have been a local thing, maybe something very local, but it didn't have like a very special container or anything. The reason I bring that up is because this comment with the soda here, I'm like, you and I neither one recognize what that is, and I'm like wondering if it's something like maybe it's something local.
Yeah,
So,
one. Huh.
thank see. I don't drink soda. Sandeep Mohan R, who's a regular contributor, says I don't drink soda too much. I like, sorry, which one?
Mirinda?
Mirinda. Okay, but I only
Mirinda?
drink sometimes. Also, sodas are bad for health if you consume too many. Yes,
Oh,
yes. You said you don't drink sodas, right? You're not a soda person, right?
No, it's just so sweet. Like I had to get a soda from the vending machine at work the other day because I had no water and like our water is kind of weird there. So um I got a soda from the vending machine and it took me like 3 days to drink because it was just so sweet. It was like a Mountain Dew or something. And I'm like, I can't drink this. Um but yeah, I have to like mix soda with something. If I can like mix soda with something like a juice or water, I don't know, soda and water is kind of weird, but like then I can usually drink it. But I don't know, it's just so sweet to drink all at once.
The if that affected you, avoid a soda called Jolt if they still make it. It
Oh,
was advertised as all the sugar and twice the caffeine. So it's made for people, I guess, who need to be get some sort of energy boost. Maybe they're up all night working or some weird
right.
job. But
The
I
sugar
don't.
rush.
I do know Trevor, my friend. I think he drank it a lot, but I never. I don't think I ever touched it. I don't even know if it still exists anymore. But I just remember the catchphrase: "All the sugar and twice the caffeine." So,
That's a catchphrase right there. Man.
um, what's this one?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Coca. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'll try any soda that comes out. Mountain Dew is coming out with a flamin' hot flavor. There we go.
Yeah, that's what
There's
we talked about.
yeah. But I'm going to have to pass on that. Oh, okay. Interesting. That's the one I said I'd probably pass on too. If I always think of sodas as cooling down, so I was thinking how a flaming hot would actually cool you down. So let's see,
Yeah. Maybe in the
basic,
winter.
maybe winter.
Maybe in the winter. Yeah.
See, basic soda. I'm a Pepsi man. I've been drinking Pepsi my whole life. I'll drink Coca-Cola if that's all the restaurant has, but I prefer Pepsi. I only drink Mountain Dew and 7 Up. Okay. The I believe Mountain Dew and 7 Up are both Pepsi products at this point. I'm pretty sure. So
Mhm.
root beer. Oh, root beer was when I was a kid. For some reason, that was my favorite.
Root
Love
beer
root.
floats.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever see the A&W root beer? A and W restaurants. Do you ever see those?
Yeah, we had those a bunch in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Those were my favorite.
Okay. Yeah. There used to be when I was a kid, there was a shopping mall, and we walked in there. For some reason, we ate at them a lot. That one. That was the only one I knew of in the whole area. We ate there a lot, and they had like special kinds of A&W root beer floats. That was their specialty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if that was a unique thing to our area or if it was just a nationwide thing. So,
I think they have some franchises, but I think they're only in certain areas. Like I have not seen one around Kentucky where I am right now.
hmm I haven't seen one in a while, so I wasn't even sure if they even existed anymore. How long ago since you've seen one?
I remember exactly where the one was in Wisconsin. I'm actually going to be going back there in a next week, so I should see if it's still there. Because last time when I left, I'm pretty sure it was still there, unless it was like out of business.
Hmm.
But
So it's still so relatively recent, then, is what you're saying. So, the,
mhm.
okay. I've never drank sodas, but I drink. Oh goodness, another one. I can't figure out what that is. Crag.
Creighton Dog. Oh, that's the energy drink one that I think we saw last time.
Okay. Is it okay? Good. It even says that. Yeah, is a good energy drink because to increase stamina with big smiley faces. Let's see, maybe
Woo.
maybe a unique one because I like to try new things. Uh, Diet soda, it's slightly less flavored than the original. That I supposed to be than the original. Pepsi is what I drink, but it's still my favorite, and it's from this is a regular contributor. My EXE, I love you, but EXE stopped working, and ASD. I'm not sure what that means. So, alrighty. So yeah, I as far as these results, I guess it is pretty standard. I mean, probably a lot of people are just not too adventurous, I guess is the right word. They don't want to. They're locked in to something. I probably would not try something new very often. When I drank soda on a regular basis, maybe if I was tired or something. I What I found was when I drank soda, I tended to drink colas during the wintertime and clearer drinks during the summertime. Um,
Yeah,
it's it seemed to help. I don't know why. I forget why exactly. It felt better. And what ended up happening is after a while, I just stopped drinking colas altogether and just stepped with the more clear drinks like the Minute Maid fruit punch and then the cherry 7 Up, and occasionally I get Mountain Dew and Sprite. So
I don't know why
But
they seem healthier, like clear sodas. Like it's like, ooh, it's healthier. It's not like dark and like has a bunch of like, I don't know, I associate like the dark with like sugar or like a bunch of like additives and stuff, but I'm sure they're like all the same. If you looked at the can, the only difference is they just added like caramel color to it to make it like darker.
it, it,
Um,
well, it actually had something to do for me because I was working because at the time I was going to school and I worked part-time as a courier. I was delivering packages, so I was in my car that didn't have air conditioning. So during the summertime, it had something to do the cold the clear drinks actually went down better somehow. I can't remember what. It's been such a long time, but I just remember it helped. If I drank colas during the summertime, it didn't go down the right way for some reason. So during the wintertime, it was fine. It's the hot weather that definitely had some sort of effect on me. So maybe it's just me.
well,
I don't know.
I think like clear sodas, most clear sodas are like lemon lime flavored or like citrus. So I think feel like citrus you associate more with summer and like just having like fruit like lemon water and stuff like that, like because you're like wanting to hydrate. And I feel like I'm not really sure what is in like a dark soda that makes it. I mean, I'm sure there's not really very much citrus in them, but
Mhm.
there's something that's more like heavier, I feel like, in a dark
Yeah,
soda.
like the syrup. It might maybe more
Yeah.
syrupy or something. I think that might be
Yeah.
it. All right. All right. Well, how do you feel? How do you feel about the responses?
Um, Yeah, I mean, I think like it's kind of the saying too, like if it's not broke, why fix it? So like I think like maybe a lot of people are just wanting to stick with basic stuff because it's what they know, and it's like why would I try something new when I like what I have? It's also like I could see that like sometimes like it's like, kind of like when you go to a restaurant and like you have one dish you really like and you always want to get that because you're like, well, should I try something different? Like what if I don't like it, or should I just get what I know what I like?
Yeah.
I know I do that. And then sometimes I will get something different. I'm like, why did I do that? Like, I should have just got what I liked. But then you never know. Like, sometimes you might end up liking what you tried.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I always like tell someone when I'm out, like if I'm going out with like a friend or whatever, I'll be like, hey, like, do you want to split this dish? Or like, hey, why don't you get this dish and I'll try some of it? Or like, be like, oh, do you want to like try some of mine? I'll try some of yours. Or like, just take it on your plate. So then that way you can like try different things, but not have it be like what you ordered. Or you can both order something like what you want and then like split the thing like you want to try. So then you still have what you like.
Hmm. I
I do
get you.
that a
Yeah.
lot.
I can agree. I can relate to that. I can fully relate to that. And I'm trying to think of an example of that. But yeah, whenever I go, I used to eat Popeye's chicken a lot. I was a huge Popeye's chicken. In fact, I was so locked into getting the exact same thing. The Popeye's chicken that was like about less than a quarter of a mile from my house. Every time I'd
Mhm.
stop in, they wouldn't even ask me. It got to the point where they just knew what I wanted every time. They would just have it ready every time I walked through the door. So
That's where you want to get.
they knew exactly what I wanted every time. It was like the original recipe, I think, with the red beans and rice, and I forget what else I got. It's been a
Mhm.
while, but let's see. So, do you have a question for this week you'd like to ask our viewers?
Well, I feel like since it's Labor Day weekend, we should ask a Labor Day question, unless we want to go super out there and not ask a Labor Day question. Um,
Yeah, we can do Labor Day. Sounds good.
Maybe, yeah, like how are you spending your Labor Day weekend? Are you
Ah,
working? Are
uh,
you chilling out?
ending or oops, and already starting with the spending your Labor Day weekend. Now, of course, also got to keep in mind that a large percentage of the people watching this are not in the United States. So,
Oh, so they might be working. I'll be
yeah,
working.
same here. So, okay, what was the responses you gave? You want me to go
I'm
slow?
working,
Working. Okay,
um,
very good.
relaxing, just like chilling out.
Relaxing, chilling out.
Maybe like attending a barbecue or like a get together.
Barbecue. Get together. Okay, get together. Going to the beach.
Oh yeah, going to the beach. I think that's pretty big. Going to like the beach or lake.
Yeah. Get together. How's get together? Is that one word? What is that?
Going to get.
Or get
I don't think that's one word. Doesn't look right. I think it's just going to a get together.
there a hyphen in there?
Sure.
Okay, I'm not sure about that. Okay.
I'm not really sure either. I'm sometimes bad with grammar.
The reason I bring it up because when I did it, it didn't give me the little red line underneath like it did. So
Uh,
I might, but
okay.
then again, okay. Oh wait, we'll leave it like that, I guess. I just barbecue. How do you spell barbecue? Barba.
Barba, is it giving you the red line? I can't really see it. It's really small.
I'll leave it like that. I probably misspelled it. I think I may have misspelled it. I think I did misspell it. I'm not sure. What was the one? Beaches. That's right. Beaches are good to the lake. Let's see.
Beaches or lakes.
I put go to and going beaches or lakes.
Attending a concert.
Okay. That would be the last
Like
one.
going to a bar concert. Yeah, that could be the last one. Absolutely nothing. I guess that's the relaxing and chilling.
Yeah. A concert. And I think I misspelled that too. Hold
on. Yeah, put a space in between A and concert.
Yeah, thank you. So I was looking at my word attending and make sure I got that. I hate to say this, but I'm looking at a monitor that's about 4 feet from me when I'm typing this out.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's far away.
So I have 4 monitors here, and I'm like, every time like I'm pulling away from the microphone and like kind of looking, trying to get closer to it to make sure I'm spelling it out because it's so tiny for the text there. So okay.
That's like my coworker. He came into work the other day with like 5 computers. I'm like, what are you doing in here? And he's like, oh, I'm just gaming before my shift starts. I'm like, would you bring your whole like setup to work? I think their power went out because of the Ida, and like they've just been like living at work the past like few days because their power they don't have any power.
Got a comment from Riak, or Ryak. Sorry, he said hi to me first, and he said hi to you. So hi back.
Hi.
So and he sent out a good vibes thing too. Much a little happy face. So I'm looking over here on our version. It shows it says good vibes, and if you look on the I'm looking at the YouTube thing, it's a little smiley face with a little thing. Okay. So would that look good?
Yeah, great.
Okay, we'll post that there.
How will you be spending your Labor Day weekend?
Working as usual, but not as much though. Most of my affiliates are taking the day off, so I'll be half of them are taking off. So I'll be doing half the workload that I normally do. So using that to catch up. It's time for what is it? Whenever you run a business, you have to pay quarterly taxes. So like I don't know if you know how that works. Every 4 months or 3 months you have to pay the IRS, and in Virginia for me as well, you have to pay them money up ahead of time. They want their money as soon as they can get it. So you don't pay it at the end of the year, you pay it every 3 months. And then at the end of the year, if you pay too much, then you get some of it back. If that's how the taxes work exactly. So all businesses do it. So right now I'm focusing on trying to get that money paid off, and I'll be focusing on other little things. It's just work. So,
right. Yeah. When you have your own business.
Yeah. All righty. So what will you be doing? What's in the anything? Any plans?
Well, today I work. Tomorrow, I'm not sure exactly what I'm probably doing. Probably just chilling out and really not doing much because I don't know. I mean, there's like I don't know, the lake around here. I think you have to rent a boat unless you know someone that has a boat. So I probably won't be going on the lake, or I don't even know where there is beach. So probably just hanging out maybe with some friends and just relaxing.
That's interesting. So the lake, are you saying you have to have a boat? I mean, you can't just sit on the side of the lake and just look at it?
Oh, you can. I'm trying to think if I've ever really. I know like all the places that I've gone to like have like dock points where you'd like go in like with your boat and stuff. So I'm sure there are areas though where you can go and kind of just like sit by the water, but I just haven't spotted them. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people like out there's like this huge like hiking trail stuff like around the lake too that people will probably be going out and doing. But especially in times like this, I'm trying to avoid a lot of people, like trying to avoid like large crowds. So
Oh yeah, I don't mind the crowds so much. I was thinking about that too when before we went live. I was thinking about the Labor Day and the crowds. For me, I don't mind the crowds too much unless you're like in an amusement park and it just takes forever to get through on the lines or something. But
right.
The thing that bothers me is when you have a lot of crowds, is there tends to be a lot of traffic. And that's the thing that gets me is the traffic getting to or from some location. So yeah, the crowds not so much, as long as they're not too too much in the way. But yeah, so you like to have it more peaceful, more quiet, like less people.
I mean, if like this whole pandemic and stuff wasn't happening, I would love to like go out to like a concert or a huge party, like get together and stuff like that. But I feel bad for all the families that have been losing people and like just like the families that have people in the hospital and like I don't really want to contribute to that. And like I mean I'm vaccinated and everything, but I know there's people that are still getting sick with it. So I'm just trying to be cautious for that reason. And
I got
I
you.
know like this weekend is going to be crazy, and I'm praying like people don't get really sick this weekend from all the things that are probably going on.
Gotcha.
Um,
That's interesting you bring that up. My California affiliates, they're just north of Los Angeles into Las Vegas. The Mojave Desert, which is the high desert just north of Los Angeles, there is virtually nobody on the roads this weekend, which was like for Labor Day, you'd think there'd be something, but it's been like that for the past month. So I'm not sure if they have what kind of if they've initiated another close down of some sort. I think they initiated a recall of the governor. I'm not if you have you heard about that. I kind of
mhm.
I stayed away from politics for the past month. I just didn't want
Yeah.
to. And I
It's
used to
good for
live
your
in.
like mental health. I feel like to just like take a break and step away.
Yeah,
Um,
oh, definitely. Yeah, I had a situation about mid July where it's like I kind of broke down. I got tired of I had to. I'm not going to get into what happened to me exactly, but it I just had a change of life, and I just stopped watching all the stuff I'd watching news, except for like I do news for a radio station, but it's local news, so I didn't focus on the national news anymore. And it was funny because I'll talk to people once in a while and they'll tell me what's going on. I go, oh, really? I had no idea that was going on at this point. And so, and
mm,
yeah, you're right. It is refreshing to stay away from that stuff after a while. It's just, it's I gotten too engrossed in it for too long of a period of time, and it's been it was about like about July 20th or 21st. That's when I stopped my whole.
mm.
I changed it, so it's been what, a month and a half now, I guess. I've really not been focusing on it anymore. It's like my whole life feels a little different now. It's so bizarre. So
Right. I mean, like it's good to be aware of like certain things that are going on in the world, like the hurricane that happened, or just like the pandemic that's happening, or different things. But if you focus on it too much, and like I was reading an article from like Yahoo today, like of the news that came in, and I like read something, and I was like, oh my god, now I'm like thinking about that, like the article, and I'm just like, I wish like news would also produce good stories because I'm sure there's tons of good stories and stuff out there, but they're just a lot of times they focus on the bad. I mean, it's like a whole thing, but and I get like why they do, but it can really like suck someone in and like bring on negative energy and just like
yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's all about getting people's attention, which is really annoying. So
yeah.
the news I produce is just straightforward. It's nothing. It's not attention grabbing at all. It's just what the police blotters are talking about. Homicides, break-ins, people DUIs and things like that. They're just local news that may have people may be interested locally. So I don't
Right.
focus on the major things. The I will say when I worked at a big WTOP, which is a big news station, this was years ago, but they would back then, even back then, they were focusing on the sensational stuff. And one of the things that always bugged me, like if there was ever a missing person, this is one of the things that really pissed me off, is I would gather the news and I would get these stories. I thought they were pretty good, and I
Mhm.
remember like specifically one time there was a missing person and it was an older man, but because it wasn't a young person, especially it wasn't a young female, they didn't want anything to do with it. So if it was a young woman that was missing, or a young child, especially if it was a female, they'd be all over it. But it was an older guy. I was like, who cares? Who cares? You know,
But it's like still that person's life. Like, yeah.
and that kind of stuff
Why
like
does he? Yeah.
yeah, it just got that kind of stuff got to me after a while. It's like I couldn't stand it. So and the but and it was like that a lot. I still like the I think the people over there are very good at their jobs. I'm not discounting, but the sensational
Oh,
aspect still kind of got to me after a while. So
right.
so
Makes sense.
what do you have as far as Labor Day coming up? I mean, does that the would you consider that the something this is you had actually talked about before we went live a little bit because you'd sent me an email about this. Would you consider this end of summer, the official end of summer?
So I feel like I mean, I feel like even September, as soon as like September 1st hits, it's crazy. Like here the weather, it was like 90 degrees August 31st, and then September 1st, it was like 60. And I was like, does the weather know that the month just changed? Oh, it's September. It's crazy because it's been so like cold since the beginning of September. Not like so cold. It's like still 70 or 60, but it's not in like the 90s and the heat we've been having. So like I feel like Memorial Day is kind of like the kickoff to summer. I feel like Labor Day is like, yeah, like the end of summer. It's like the last weekend to go into fall. And I feel like also like I've been noticing Halloween stuff in stores. Like I was just at Walgreens yesterday and they have all the Halloween candy out. Some of the other like stores have like decorations and stuff out. So I feel like they're already pushing Halloween and fall stuff, which makes me feel like summer's ending. Because I think the original like end of summer is like September 20, like around 22nd, around there. But that feels late. Like unless the weather continues to be like really hot, I feel like, yeah, like once the weather starts to cool down, it feels like fall for sure, or like summer's over, which makes me sad. I almost had like a really sad moment at work the other day thinking like, wow, like what did I even do this summer? Like I didn't do anything. I did like one thing I wanted to do. Everything else, like, I guess I did more this summer though than I did last summer. So I should be grateful for that. But it's still like, I feel like the summer just went by so fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel that way.
Yeah, I don't like it when it transitions into fall. I'm not a big not usually a big of I'm not it's not something I usually like too much. But I will say what's different here from where you are is the it stays hot for a lot longer in DC. So it will stay hot all the way to like the 20th or the 21st on a regular basis. So it is very hot. In fact, I remember a lot of times the schools will actually get out early in the area just because it's so hot. Because they don't want to keep. So that's interesting. Around here the weather doesn't look at the calendar. It just keeps on going. So
that could be a question too. Like, yeah, did you consider this weekend the start of fall, or are you trying to push it out as far as possible and say like, yeah, end of September is when summer starts?
I will say when it comes to like going to the beaches, we can add that question if you'd like as well. We can do that if you want. We can go ahead and add that one if you'd like. When it comes to the DC area, I will say it seems like people do, even though it's still very hot after Labor Day, they pretty much act like it's done. That's it. They act like it's fall pretty much. Even though it's hot.
Yeah, all the pumpkin spice stuff is out. I don't know if you're a pumpkin spice fan. I saw my friend posted this meme. And I thought it was funny. Like, I'm not a pumpkin spice girl. I'm more of a chilly and sweater weather kind of person. But yeah.
No, I have not. Sorry. The one thing I will say is when it comes to the fall, no, I'm not really. Actually, I'm the exact. When it comes to the fall, I'm always more like maybe it's because everything dies off. I get more like it just seems like a little bit more depressing to me. I know some people say like the fall colors. So, but when it comes to fall for me, it's like it seems like everything's dying off at that point. So it seems slightly not really. I'm not really depressed or anything, just slightly depressing the way things look around here. Like my house is covered. My yard, my property, I guess you could say, because it's pretty large, is surrounded by trees, and you cannot see my house at all from the road during the summertime. But once the leaves come down, my house is clear. It's right there. You can see it without any problems. It's like really bizarre how it's like it appears out of nowhere. And when I have deliveries made to my house, people can't even see my house. They don't even realize there's a house there. They see a driveway, but they don't realize there's a house there. So I have to walk out to meet them because I just to make sure that they don't deliver to the wrong house sometimes. So, but yeah, when it comes to the fall, I'm not a big fan of it, but it's probably, but I over the years, it's not like something I don't hate it anymore. I used to hate it kind of, but now I don't hate it that much anymore. So for some reason I used to hate it when I was younger. And as far as like, what did you say? What was that you talked about? If I was a big what fan of
with pumpkin spice.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever had that before. Is it good?
Well, it's just like a different flavoring and things like the pumpkin spice coffees, the pumpkin spice like muffins, waffles. I feel like they put pumpkin spice chips. I think I'm seeing I think it's basically just like pumpkin spice is like cinnamon, nutmeg, and what's the other one? I was gonna say coriander, but that is not it. Cinnamon, nutmeg.
Okay.
Like pumpkin pie spice, like what you put in a pumpkin pie. They just like put that in everything because it's like pumpkin spice season. So you're not a fan of the pumpkin spice?
I'm not a big fan of pumpkins in general, to be honest. I'm not. I'm not. It's just not my not my taste. Every time have something with pumpkin, it's I don't know. I'm just not really. It just kind of turns me off. Sorry.
You don't eat pumpkin out of the can? I literally will sometimes eat pumpkin out of a can.
Really? Oh no, no, not even touched it.
Well, I'll add like maple syrup or something to it. Like, I don't know, like I like pumpkin pie, but it's like too much like I don't know. I could just like literally eat pumpkin and like put maple syrup and like butter on it or just like whipped cream or something and just eat it like out of a can. I don't need it baked in like a pie. I'm really weird though. I feel like I sometimes eat really healthy and then sometimes I'll like this morning I ate a donut for breakfast and like a brownie. So it can go back and forth.
Well, talk about things eating out of a can. I used to eat I used to eat peanut butter out of the jar. Just peanut butter. I get a jar. I just consume a whole thing of peanut butter. Not a really fast over a period of time, of course, but I wouldn't put it on anything. So, and I would occasionally buy cans of tuna, eat raw tuna sometimes. I'm not sure if that's ever for some reason people just thought that was disgusting. I think it was more or
Oh,
less
I did
the
my cat
aroma.
this morning. Tuna out of a can.
The I think the people got disgusted by it when they were around me primarily because of the aroma. I don't think they liked the aroma. I think that's what it was. Yeah. The and as far as I'm sorry, I keep on talking over you. I'm sorry. Say that last one
Oh
again.
no, I just said props to you for being able to eat tuna out of a can. I don't think I could do that.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, I can't eat it anymore. My diet has, I have a special diet I'm on, so I can't do it anymore. It causes issues. But yeah, when
Mhm.
a lot of time I would just, if I didn't have something, if I was going to work, I'd carry my bag. Like I used to teach, so I carry my school stuff in my bags, and I would carry like 3 or 4 cans of tuna just in case I forgot to get something to eat. I could just chow down on a can of tuna where I was. I always had a can opener with me too. So
Funny. Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of like buying things, like big this weekend too, I think is going to be like Labor Day shopping, like Labor Day deals. I bet you there's some things that you should buy or some things you should wait on that they seem they might have like a deal on it, but it might be not that big of a deal. But I'm probably definitely going to be doing Labor Day shopping. That's probably what I'll be doing, just like whipping out my computer or my phone and seeing what's on sale.
yeah, I was going to ask you about if you were going to do that as far as like if it would be like oh, if you go to the store or if you'd actually see are you a person do you ever go to if you for these sales would you ever go to the
Mhm.
store would you just do it online?
Um, I usually would go to a store, but I also like lately I've been like shopping online because I feel like there's so much other stuff online. I can just like throw a bunch of stuff in my cart and then I can like look at it all at once and then be like, yeah, okay, I like that. Like, no, I like this better. Like, yeah, I want that. I probably buy more online because I'm not being able to try it on and I just have so much stuff in my cart. So I'm just like, eh, whatever. But if I was at a store and I tried it on, I was like, yeah, I don't like that. And I probably wouldn't buy it. But I do like going to stores to like actually see what the clothing and stuff or whatever I'm getting like looks like in person. Cause I feel like online too, like you looks like a certain fabric or something and it's like completely different when you get it or size. Um
That's something well, I mean, unless I bought it before, like buying clothing online is something that'd be kind of hard for me because usually I prefer to go to the store and try it on first just to make sure it's going to fit properly. So, but I bought a pair of pants from a specific brand. I don't even remember what it was. And whenever dress, I usually wear like a black button-down shirt and with different kinds of khaki pants. So I knew what it was. So I just went online once I bought them all, and they were the exact size I needed. But usually, if I go down to a store, I'm always afraid I'm gonna get one size a little too big, too small, or the
Mhm.
legs are gonna be too long, too short for what I want. So I always like to try it on first because if I get it, it's like at that point I don't feel like shipping it back. I'm just lazy to ship it back. So, but as far as I was surprised because I didn't even think about clothing because clothing for me is I was thinking more like just like all the other stuff that they're having out there, they're throwing out there for like
Like
whatever big.
appliances. Yeah.
So yeah, I like I said, clothing is yeah. And the only other thing about clothing, I guess, I mean, even shoes. Well, I get this. I'm kind of bland lately. I just get the same pair of shoes over and over again, so I know which size to get. So, but before when I always had to go down to make sure the shoes would fit first. But nowadays it's just okay. I know what diet I get, and they'll fit fine, so I don't worry about it. So it's the same company I get them from every time. So I don't have a wide variety of shoes. I just have one pair of shoes. I'm
Like
very
the soda. If you like them, why try something different? Like I just bought a new pair of shoes because mine were like completely flat on the bottom. But these are like now that I'm wearing them, they're starting to like hurt my feet and like the tops of my feet. And now I'm just like, am I not supposed to work out in these because they're foam? Like I don't know why they're like hurting my feet. Now I'm just like, I wish I would have just bought the same thing that I had because I had those for like years and they were fine.
uh-huh.
So yeah, why try
I,
something new
yeah, I know.
if you like what you have?
So as far as this is something else you brought as are you looking we were talking about pumpkins and everything. Is there anything else you're looking forward to as far as fall with fall coming up?
Um, Pumpkins. It's funny with pumpkins. Like I always am like, oh, I want to carve pumpkins. Like who wants to carve pumpkins with me? Or like you're carving pumpkins with me. But then as soon as I start carving, and I'm like, why do I like doing this so much? It's like so much work and like pointing the little holes and like cutting it out, and then mine always looks awful anyway. So I'm just like, um, but I guess it's like a fun experience to carve pumpkins. But also, I like Halloween. I sometimes like dressing up and like going out and doing things. But the hard thing is like trying to figure out what I'm like. I know there's like some people out there that spend like like all year, like decorating, like trying to find their costume and like putting it together. Like the next couple months, they'll be doing that. But I'm always like last minute, what am I going to be? And then it's more so I just want to do something, but finding the costume and like figuring out what I want to be is like the rough part.
That I would never really people people actually spend a whole year just deciding what they're going to dress up for Halloween for a whole year. Really?
Yeah, like I know some people that maybe not a whole year, but I know there's like some people that make their own costumes and they spend like most of the year like making it and then they enter it into like contests and stuff. Like I know at least in Milwaukee there was a bunch of bars that would have like costume contests and like you could win like $100 or whatever. And like people take some of that stuff really seriously and like put a lot of work into their costume. I give them props. They should win for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I when it comes to a costume, I haven't done it in a long time, but I would when I do it, it was to me it would probably be just like a last minute thing. I just throw something together. That's
Yeah.
I guess you said that it's a contest, so maybe that's why they want to make it's more the thrill and maybe all that stuff and notoriety. I guess maybe a little bit of that too. So the
Yeah. I think
yeah,
one year I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna be. I think I just threw on a flannel, put my hair in like pigtail braids, and like put on a straw hat and like drew a thing on my face. I'm like, I'm a scarecrow. Like I don't even know what else to be this year. So definitely didn't win anything, but it was still fun.
the when you talk about pumpkin carvings, when I was in the Cub Scouts when I was a kid, we during Halloween one time we everyone the group I was in, I didn't really like I was what happened was the little den, I think they call them a den, it's been a while. Well, I started off in one den. I liked the kids that were in there, but I was the youngest one there. All of the ones that were in there graduated. So what happened was I was thrown into another den with a bunch of newbies and they didn't know anything about Cub Scouting. So I became the most experienced one. But because of that, I would become the outsider. So I didn't really mesh very well with the newer group. So I kind of faded out. But I do know, and that what I'm leading up to is when it came to doing the pumpkins, we all did something with the pumpkins. I decided to make mine look like a football player, even though I don't play football.
Yeah.
I made I actually we weren't carving pumpkins, we were just painting them. They all made it like these scary like scary faces. I just made mine like a football player, and so mine looked very unique. So mine was
Mhm.
completely different than all the other ones. They're all like scary whatevers. And the I was I never really felt like I don't know it the carvings. If I were to carve one, I could see making something look more scary. But painting on the pumpkin, for some reason, I just wanted to make something I guess a little bit more artistic. I guess the football players just seemed to fit better that time.
Did you
So
win? Because yours was so
uh,
different.
yeah, I did actually.
Oh, did
So
you? That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I feel like yeah, you always want to pick the one that's a little bit different. Otherwise,
I'm probably one because it was probably the one that looked so different from all of the others. I think the other ones still look pretty much the same. So, but shortly after I dropped out of the group anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. So, I'm not saying anything bad about the group. It just felt like like I said, I was in another one that graduated more quickly than me, and so when I got thrust into the other one, it just didn't feel the same. We didn't really mix. It just happens when you get in certain groups sometimes. So, and that was one of those things that just the football players showed how different I was from the other ones because they all did the same, and I did that one. So the
hmm
as far as moving on through fall beyond Halloween, how about that? As far as like, is there anything else you were preparing for?
um, like not related to fall.
Well, I guess we fall maybe. I guess I'm trying to think myself. I couldn't think of anything else beyond Halloween because I did. You said that they already have Halloween. I've not been to a store for a couple of weeks for a little while actually, but
Mhm.
I did not know they already had Halloween stuff out this early because we're almost 2 months away. I mean,
Yeah.
so
I was tempted to buy candy corn at the store yesterday, but I was like, my teeth do not need that, so I'm not going to buy it. Um, but yeah, Halloween stuff's in stores. Start thinking about your costume. If you're gonna go do something, or even if you're not doing something, you could just dress up and sit at home, at least be festive or something. We could dress up for the show in October
that's true.
weekend. Um, but yeah, I can't really think of anything else that's happening like that's fall related, like pumpkin spice. I know like Labor Day this weekend, people are probably traveling. It's best to, I think we were talking about this, like travel after the holiday.
Yeah.
Um, and then,
The no, go ahead. I was going to say something. I just lost my thought. I'm sorry. The
um,
the travel for the DC area is actually relatively light. I was surprised. I guess a lot of people are like, is the I guess that we're at the Delta variant. Is that really affecting a lot of people? Because you said that was affecting your decision about going out. Is that really affecting a lot of things right now?
um, I
I'm
mean, like different people. Like I think, I mean, I don't know what other people think. I can only know what I think, but I feel like, well, what was your question?
Well, I mean, what I meant, if you've been paying attention to like what's going on as far as like what people are saying, I wasn't sure if you, because like I told you, I've been phasing out of that lately for the past month and a half. So I wasn't sure if people were that concerned about it, if it was causing it, because as far as I can tell in this area, it's not really causing that much of an issue. And
Mhm.
as far as traveling though, like I can tell you, New York does not seem to be affected by it that much, but California does.
Mhm.
It's like the exact opposite. DC is partially affected by it. Like I had to take a cab ride, and I'll tell you the over the past couple of weeks, two different cab rides because I'd go pick up my car, and
Mhm.
the when the people in the cab were like they didn't seem to be affected by the Delta variant and all that stuff or anything. It's like they were like, yeah, it's not a big deal, and I wasn't sure if you had heard anything about other people or if there's any news reporting about it if that was affecting Labor Day that much. From what I can see, it does seem to be affecting it on the West Coast, or at least Los Angeles is definitely affected by it, but Las Vegas is not, which is relatively close. Las Vegas seems to be
When
pretty
you
bad.
mean affected, do you mean like the people just don't care, or like it's just not very, it's not growing like rampant, like there's not a lot of cases?
What I mean is it affecting I mean, people's desire to travel? I should have
Oh,
specified.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think like here, it's definitely the numbers are increasing. And like I just saw a report today, like that someone posted on Facebook, one of my coworkers, like how many people are in the hospital with it and like that it's worse than actually last year, but people are still going out and doing things. I think probably because people are just tired of it and like don't care. I think it also like depends on where you live. Like if people, yeah, like if they are against it or for it, whatever. Like so I think it also has to deal with like the people. So like I feel like if it's a community that doesn't really care about COVID or like whatever is not vaccinated, like of course they're gonna go out and do things because they don't care. But if
Right.
it's like a community where people are like vaccinated and like worried about the virus or know people that have died from it and are just being cautious, then I don't think that they're gonna go out and really do as many things or at least be cautious about doing things and like following the guidelines. So I think it just also has to do with area and like group and like individual person. So like I think like yes, like the numbers are going up and like statistics say that, but like I think it just depends on the individual if they
I
care.
got
It's
you.
like funny to me that I read stories about like people like saying like, oh, we don't care about it, all that, but then when they're on their deathbed, they're like, shoot, I wish I would have got vaccinated. Like, why didn't I? Like I've read so many stories like that lately. And it's just like,
Really, I didn't. Yeah, that was. Yeah. I yeah
yeah.
my I was just yeah my thing was obviously I was just it definitely is affecting people like you're saying in different parts of the area and I was just curious as far as Labor
Mhm.
Day travel if how much is are people actually affected by going out. I mean, where you are, is there a lot of people going out? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, we have a huge concert festival going on this weekend that a bunch of artists are going to, and it's literally like 20 minutes from my apartment. And we're giving away free, like, we had tickets for it at our work and stuff that I think people were giving away. And they're actually advertising on their site, like, no vaccination required, like, no negative test upon entry. Like, it's a good thing. And like, I saw a video, or I saw like, people out there like taking videos of the concert, and like some areas look more crowded than others. Like the people I think that were taking the video, you could tell they were kind of away from the crowd. But yeah, I mean, people are going out and doing things, and I
Hmm.
just hope everyone's okay, because I really wanted to go to that just for something to do, but I was like, yeah, no,
Hmm.
I'm not even gonna go.
Yeah, I can tell you the numbers in DC, DC, specifically the city of DC, not the DC metropolitan area, but just inside the city. The numbers have definitely gone up over the past month and a half,
Mhm.
but the number of deaths has not. It's actually not at all. In fact, it's actually stayed down. It's very low.
Yeah.
So before they started the initial vaccines, the death count was higher, but now virtually it's stayed the same. But the number of people getting the cases has definitely climbed by maybe, I would say, maybe 100, maybe 150% or so. It's definitely climbed
Mhm.
up there. So I maybe a number. I look at the numbers like every other day. So but
Mhm.
it doesn't seem like, I think people are, like you said, they're just tired of it. A lot of people are in DC area that has pretty
Yeah,
much,
I
the
understand.
whole DC area itself has
Mhm.
pretty much got back to normal as far as like that. There, it doesn't seem like people are too worried about it in this area. So, all right. Would you like to check our question again? If we asked at the beginning, let me see. Let
Sure.
me bring
And
it.
then I gotta hop off and get to work. So
Yeah, sorry. I think we were getting close there. Let me see. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay. Here we go. So, how are you spending your Labor Day weekend? Wow.
I'm surprised so many people are working. It's like Labor Day is supposed to be no work, but yet here we all are working.
67% overwhelmingly working.
I hope
26
all those people get ahead and like are doing something good.
yeah. 26% relaxing, chilling out. Next with 4% attending a barbecue or get together, and 1% tied with attending a concert, which I misspelled again, and going to the beaches or lakes. So yeah, that's interesting. Wow. I no comments yet. So we can check that next week, see what kind of comments we get. So alrighty. So yeah, thanks everybody for participating in our poll. We really appreciate that. And yeah, did you have anything else before we wanted to wrap everything up? Oh, did you want to comment on that aside from what you said already?
No, yeah, it looks good. Yeah, thanks for watching and listening to us talk about Labor Day and stuff. I hope you guys have a good Labor Day weekend,
Okay.
even if you're working.
And Katie and I will both be working that day. So already, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week.